Dimp Digital Presents Idle Game Chat.
Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is the weekly video games podcast where we give our impressions of the video games that you can play today and react to the latest news from the wonderful world of gaming. We're here every Monday on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. This week, I'm joined by the reigning Dimp Digital Gaming Quiz champion. It's Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
I'm glorious. The full package has arrived.
Is that are you talking about the consoles or something else?
A next gen as a whole.
Okay.
My butt plug has arrived. The full.
It was either that or drugs, I was thinking.
I've just had an absolute shipment. Waken's finest pure is coming.
Yes. No surprises on what we're going to discuss this week. We did have to wait a little longer, being in the UK, but we have our PS5s. Our journey to next gen is complete, and we're going to give our impressions on the hardware, touch on some of the games we've been playing, and give you guys a flavour of what you can expect if you're planning on trying to pick one up in the not so distant future. I think it's going to be tricky. There'll probably be like maybe one or two more shipments, like small supplies before Christmas, but I don't think a great deal is going to change between now and then anyway. So if you are planning, if you're umming and ahhing about the Series X, you've obviously heard our thoughts last week, and we'll probably circle back round and do a little bit of a comparison and our final thoughts on it. But it's going to be a PS5 heavy episode, and then we'll see where the chips land. But before we get into the meat of the show, if you enjoy Idle Game Chat, first of all, thank you for listening. But if you wish to, patreon.com/Idle Game Chat is the place to go if you want to support us financially. Other thing you can do to help us is to just tell a friend, and say, look, there's this great gaming podcast, number one in India. Well, can't verify that, but I'm just assuming we're number one in India, and it's not going to be long before it gets picked up in the Western world. So you want to get in early. And if you can, you'll have good credence with your mates if they say, "Oh yeah, that's the podcast you recommended." And you go, "Yeah, I was ahead of the game. I was there year one, recommending that to people." So if you can't be asked to put hand in pocket, although as I mentioned last week, Christmas coming around the corner, time to put hand in pocket and be
second-hand Demon Souls to be buying to cough up.
Oh, absolutely. And I know there's a few fuckers sitting there who ain't been commuting after the year, so you're making hand over fist. You ain't been affected by the COVID, so hand in
Boris
pocket.
handouts left, right, and centre.
Yeah. And those of you that have been affected, I do apologise, because it's not been a
yes, sorry.
Do not give us any money if that's the case. So PlayStation 5, we had to wait till Thursday. So it's actually a whole week.
No problems
for us to wait. We'd seen a lot of the impressions, but we collected ours from Game, which is UK retail store. Pretty much, I think it's the only sort of dedicated high street gaming store now.
Literally is.
There's independents lying around, isn't there? But not like.
Yeah, I wonder how quick places like CX. I wonder if they've had a PS5. I suppose they can't. They've shut down on the minute, but they'd never release games, do they?
No, not typically.
So
sometimes see them actually. I've seen them above the shelf in. So, but I know that's something that someone's given them to trade. Like, I've just bought it and traded it on the day. I don't know how they work. Well, they're shut anyway, and we had a bit of a palaver with Game because obviously there's lockdown here in England, and Game basically said if you're ordering online, you're fine because we can still do click and collect. So that's essentially what you'd be doing. If you've ordered it in store, like I had to go in 3-4 weeks ago before the lockdown started, pay off the balance. I was given my golden raffle ticket, and then I was told to bring that, and then we'll get them. So we set off about 7:10, wasn't it? 7:10, 7:15.
I was still asleep at the wheel.
You was asleep at the wheel. There's a little convoy out of Waker, and Adkins is following me in his car. We're driving over to Southend, fucking town centre where I haven't been for forever now. and we end up queuing up outside game. We get there about 1:30, get a quick McDonald's, socially distanced queue. Although it wasn't really, was it? Like there was, and the funny thing was there was coppers there. It didn't really enforce it. So it was
just kept scaring us about being mugged.
Yeah. The coppers constantly saying, just be aware about your personal safety when you come out because you'll be having these expensive game consoles in case someone mugs you. And I was like, well, all right, mate.
Shouting it across the street.
Yeah, I wish I bought my baseball bat at that point. But we queue up, and it actually felt a little bit normal for a few moments whilst we was in the queue. And there was other gaming nerds.
The other days of midnight queuing up to play like FIFA or COD or whatever. I used to go to these midnight releases.
Yeah.
Sort of thought, cool, this is an old nostalgia feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we pop up to the front. They're doing it sort of in the doorway of the shop, so no one's really going in. It's just all down the doorway. Picked it up, no problems. Adcock met us there. And his nephew Lewis also. So there was, although he wasn't getting one, he's getting it from Amazon. It did arrive on time. So anyway, we get our PS5s, all jump back in our cars and speed home. Get the bugger home, and it's time to unbox.
Cool.
Now, we made a big deal about the presentation that Phil would put in his box in terms of how the console's presented. You get this power your dreams, all nicely wrapped up. Jim Ryan, on the other hand, decides just to chuck the fucking thing in the box. A bit of like cardboard support around the side of it. Little user manual. All the cables chucked in. Off you go, and that was it. No effort on their behalf to make this seem like anything special, was there?
Sort of symbolised their promotion of these consoles.
It did, yes, it did.
Really did. You know, Xbox were very forward open with their sort of promotion and explaining about everything that it comes with. There's some videos where PlayStation left it right to the end to actually reveal the fucker and then sort of drip feed you some information about when it was actually coming and the UI and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I say, that was one thing. I mean, it is, you know, it's a bit pointless. Well, it's not pointless because it is that satisfaction of opening, but in the end, long stretch of things, I suppose, it's just a box you open and then chuck it in an office for fucking 7 years. But yeah, it really was. That was the dampener for me, was just that unboxing. It was fun to unbox it, but yeah, you know, just coming off of that Xbox premium presentation to then, like you say, just lumps of cardboard in a box.
Yes,
chucked in by Jim Ryan personally.
Yes, it was definitely a different experience. So 1-0 to Xbox Series X, if you wanted to keep count. We get the console out. Now I've got a digital only one, so it's not as egregious. But we actually get to see and feel the size of this beast in our own hands. Now I've got it set up. We've had it a few days, and it's up vertically. It's on its stand. And like I said, it's digital, so it doesn't have the little disk drive on the side, so it looks a little bit sleeker. It don't look as big as I thought it was going to. Much like the Xbox Series X, I thought that was going to be a fucking great big bazooka chimney, I think you called it last week. Whereas now it's here. Yes, it is bigger, it's taller, and it's got, you know, it's longer and wider, but...
Me and you have got them both side by side.
Yes.
And when you look at them, it's only, you know, what, 3, 4 inches taller?
If that,
it's not that great deal in length at all. It's quite deep. It's just comparison to how sort of slim, especially certainly the PS4. It was quite a sleek looking console. Like, we had got an extra layer on the PS4, but when you compare it to that, how thin and sort of rectangular, this is a real statement. I still love the design. I do really rate it, but yeah, I'm still, I don't know, like today my brother stuck his head through the window when he was around here today and had a little look, and he was like, oh, size of that. So it's still a statement maker, but yeah, it's one of those things that works on you. The trouble is, when I set up my TV in my game room and that, it was very much accustomed to the consoles I had it there.
Yes.
So now that I've changed it over, I've still got the same desk and whatnot, and it don't work. It needs sort of some attention. Some of the leads don't reach properly, and I'm sitting there questioning whether this is the right entertainment system now for it. But
yeah, one thing I will say is that it will disrupt, and to lesser extent, the Series X might do as well, but it's a smaller machine generally. The PS5 will probably disrupt a lot of setups. So my old setup had to go. I had this lovely 3-tiered glass, like little fucking stand thing. Like it had 3, like beautiful thing. It was heavy, expensive. Probably I've got it given to us, so I don't know how much it actually was. But obviously with the vertical, not requirement, but hinted at for both consoles, having several levels and shelves essentially wasn't going to cut it. There wasn't going to be room to do that. So I actually just opted for and bought I think it's 30 odd quid little coffee table off of Argos, and that's now housing both the consoles. I took the bottom legs off it, so rather than it being a bit higher, it's actually just sitting on the floor as a sort of a table piece. But yeah, most setups I think are going to struggle to fit this one in. I think the Xbox you can get away with in a lot of circumstances, but this thing, like even laying on its belly because it's so long, it's a big boy. I'm just fortunate that I've got room for it to be vertical, so it doesn't look as egregious. Yeah. But you get a side profile of it, and you go, Christ, how far back does that go?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a girthy monster, whichever way you put it.
Because yours is up vertical, wasn't it? It was at one point covering a bit of your soundbar, which annoyed you.
It was. It really is. I've had a little shuffle around now, and it's just to the side, but it's still, because I haven't moved the soundbar, it's still into the middle. It reaches exactly the middle of the soundbar. Mm. So I've either got to have it in front of it, which, ain't doing no good. So I've put it to the side, but yeah, it's a real fucking lengthy one. You've got to really measure it out.
Yeah. The advice I'd give if you're planning or thinking of getting one and you do secure one, just have a measure up, look the dimensions up, suss out whether you can fit it where you've got it. If you can't, you may have to adjust. And also, I don't think I'd want to put either of these in just a cabinet and shut the door. Like it feels like it could be a fucking cook box. But no, there you go.
A lot of ventilation I've left on here. Open desk, no surrounds. Big gaps at the back.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, we get it all set up. It's a fairly easy setup, just a couple of wires and whatnot. Boot the thing up. You can set the PlayStation up without using your phone, so you don't have to use the PlayStation app. I decided to because it made things a hell of a lot easier. But I know on the Xbox, it kind of... It doesn't. I think you can set up without it, but it almost forces you to use the app initially, which annoys people for some reason. But I've always found sort of phone setups nice and easy, but no problems on that end, I assume, for you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I didn't use the app on the PlayStation. I did go through the OG way. Did it come up with a QR code in it?
That's it. Yeah. Remember, and then you go in the app, and then in the menu there's a option type says set up PS5. Hit that, brings up the QR scanner. Scan that. Robert's your father's brother, and you're in.
No, I didn't. It sort of went over my head. I was filming at the same time as doing it. So if you go over to my Instagram page, I think I've left it on there, highlight. And you can see the full day's experience of the unboxing video. It was a real hit with the fans.
Wow. That should have been on the fucking Dimp account. Promote that.
Should we? Still can. I can put a link to it, actually. I should stick it on there for the boys and for the Idle Game Chat. If you follow us at Idle Game Chat on Twitter. There you go. There's a plug.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I was filming at the same time, so I was doing it one-handed. So that's probably why it passed me by. But yeah, very good.
We get into it. There is a new UI.
Excellent.
I think it's
new sounds as well. That was another bonus, I thought. Another thing that annoyed me about the Xbox was not only was it the same UI, you get the same button noise when you press the button.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell, come on, this is 7 years old. Give me a new chime.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely. You could tell it was a new system just by playing around with it. I'm not decided whether I prefer the UI or not because I'm still holding down the fucking PlayStation button to power it off when you've just got to tap it. So there's still a few things I've got to get used to. But I think generally, if you can create a new UI, it doesn't break everything and isn't poor, like it's worthwhile doing. Because like you said there, I think one of our complaints last week that we droned on and on about was simply that it just felt like the same thing again, whereas PS5,
a lot of people,
different kettle of fish.
A lot of people have been asking me that week. I've been showing people that I've got both, and people saying, "Do you prefer?" And the Xbox, I was a lot of comparisons to when you get a new upgrade to a phone. I was saying like it's sort of one of those things where it does exactly what the old one does, but just slightly better. And like even especially when you're getting these Samsungs, the UI and that's exactly the same, and it is just that you've got a better camera, a bit more memory, a bit faster, a bit snappier, and it's the same box standard thing, it's a phone to phone. So it feels like that with the Xbox, whereas this had some more. I was excited about the controller, new UI, new sounds coming on, new trophy system, all that jazz. So it just had that extra weight to it and sort of enhanced to the next gen feeling. Yeah,
and we talk about the marketing of both. That's kind of in line with what both of them were saying. Very much PlayStation Jim was talking about, we believe in generations and whatnot. And other than, perhaps potentially backtracking on games being PS5 exclusives or suggesting they were going to be, you can't argue that this feels like a different machine completely to the PS4. And on the other side, Xbox said, no, we want this to feel like you're home still when you boot this thing up. And it has delivered on that. It feels like another Xbox. So, again, the two strategies are kind of coming to light and crystallising now that we've got our hands on the pair of them.
Yeah.
One of the great underrated moves that Sony have done with this PS5 is packing in that fucking Astrobot, having it there. Now, when I booted it up, it seemed like it done like a small update to the game, so it wasn't immediately available. It took like a couple of minutes, if that. But whilst I was downloading Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered and Bugsnax, all that stuff that I wanted and got day one, and we'll get into that because there's options there even on day one, we were able just to essentially play Astrobot within a few moments of booting up the console, and that was not the case with the Series X. We pretty much lost half a day waiting for stuff to download. And just the convenience, and this is without even saying whether the Astrobot's any good or not, just having something there to play as soon as you put your console on, I think is a great move.
Yeah, that was another thing we kept droning on about last week.
He's written the year off.
The old fucking thing we should have done. That we didn't have a tech demo. We didn't have an Astrobot. Give me something. Give me a fucking demo. Give me an insects demo like we had on the PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. Sorry.
Yeah.
Give me something. Just something.
Give me that insect mode.
Yeah. Just show me the new shit. Give me a ray tracing fucking demo. Give me a bloody SSD demo. And what we got was Astrobot, and wow. Game of the year.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great game, and for a pack-in bundled game with a console, expectations are at fucking rock bottom. I remember playing the last Astrobot on the PS4, fucking about with that, and I was like, this. I did it because I wanted to play around with the controller and see what it could do, and I was like, this ain't that good. Whereas this time, Astrobot or Astro's Playroom, whatever they've called this pack-in, is excellent. It's an excellent video game. It's a very competent 3D platformer, and is a very, very strong showcase of what the DualSense is capable of. And again, we talk about new things that have arrived with this PS5. A lot's been made of this controller. It's been being hyped up even in the press and the media and all the pre-release stuff. People have been droning on about it. This lets people really get a taster of what it's offering, and I think it's all positive, really.
Oh, it does, yeah. The funniest thing is, like, the first thing when you boot the game up, you get a controller demo. It just goes through 5 different little features of what the controller can do. And funny enough, when I opened, I sort of might have done, but not realising, I don't think I touched the triggers.
No.
I didn't sort of check the sponge enough. So the first thing I did was when it asked me to do it in the game. And the first thing it does is it sort of resembles like a rocket. So when you press it, you have this sort of feedback that almost makes it feel like a proper click.
Yeah.
But so in my head, I just thought that's how the controllers feel. Like, that's how the triggers are.
GameCube controller.
Yeah, like you really get like a second click. So you sort of click it in, it goes to the middle, and then you push it down harder. And I was thinking, fucking hell, that might be a bit weird.
Yeah.
But the second I move, it goes on to the next thing. I press the triggers again, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's just how they've managed to put that in, a sensation and a feel of vibration in your finger that makes you feel like you're really pulling down on something to click an engine to start.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it blew my mind straight off. Then that's not even in the game. That's like just a demo, a sort of fucking menu screen demo. Incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Astro's Playroom, what we're about to speak about, is going to be one part kind of game and, you know, what it's done for the PS5, and then the other part talking about what this DualSense is capable of, because they go hand in hand with this, and it's such a smart idea to have done this and to have pulled it off in the way they have. I'm very impressed. Like we said, it's mentioned it's a showcase. One of the other things that's really great about Astro's Playroom is it's not only is it we talked about the DualSense stuff, and we'll get to that in a bit more in depth, but it really is a celebration of PlayStation.
It really is, mate. I had so much nostalgia.
Yes. Yeah.
Of like being I remember, like, one of my earliest memories. I think we need to speak to my parents about like how we actually got the PlayStation. But I remember, I think my older brother.
Come off the back of a lorry, that did, mate.
I remember the PlayStation 2. My mum and dad won the lottery. It weren't, you know, millions or anything. I'm not a spoiled rich kid, but they did have quite a good win on the lottery.
What, just national lottery was it?
Just on the actual. I think, can't remember how many numbers it was. Is it like 6, 7? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's 6 now.
6? Is it 6? It's something like that. So I think my dad got like 5.
Christ.
And it would have been like an incredible win, but someone else won that night as well, so it got pretty much cut in half.
Yes.
But they got a decent, really good. And I remember that night just being like, "Mum, you've got to buy the PS2 for me." And she's like, "All right." It's like, cool. That's
sport rich kid awakening.
Exactly. One of my earliest memories. But the one it must have been my older brothers, because I would have been 10 when that came out.
Yeah.
And what was Metal Gear Solid would have been on it, wouldn't it? And yeah, my earliest memory was the demo that came where it had Metal Gear Solid demo on it, and I think GTA as well. I think GTA 1, something like that. And that's the earliest back. So just thinking about that, then like I say, winning the lottery and getting that PlayStation 2 with Tekken Tag Tournament, and getting that, living the life. And then, as I say, as I went into an adult and bought a PS3, and it just sort of taking me through that sort of memory lane. Yeah. Oh mate, it was beautiful.
I was pretty much. I don't think I smiled that much in like just playing through a game in a long time, and I've been playing a lot. We've been playing likes of Last of Us Part 2, which isn't the game to smile about, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. This was like just joyous to play through. And celebrating the PlayStation brand. There's loads and tons of Easter eggs about franchises that have been synonymous with PlayStation. Loads of little artifacts to find that are like models and showcases of all the different tech that have come through the years.
In there. Didn't even know that they'd even made. Didn't even know. It's amazing.
Yeah. My one small gripe, and here it is. And it's Ronnie again. He gets frustrated about things like this. Is whenever the PS5 is shown in the in Playroom, it's that fucking disc one in there. Ain't this? I was hoping it'd recognise I got a digital version and it would show that version of it, but it didn't. So Ronnie's sitting there saying, "You ain't even got the PS5 yet." He's saying you got the fake one, so now he's gonna have to have a talking to later on. And be told no, it's not how it works, mate. But no, other than that, like it's a great game. Like, and the this is it's so cool. Like,
Isn't it?
It really is. It really is cool. But the reason why it's cool is not only because it's a celebration. It's a competent 3D platformer. It has. Be careful what I say, so people don't go. Oh, This feels like something Nintendo would do.
Yeah,
in a good way. Like when Nintendo, when they're at their best, this sort of Nintendo-esque magic that celebrates Nintendo as a brand and all the stuff they've done for gaming. This is like PlayStation's version of it, and it's very good.
Yeah. I did see something like that on Twitter. Someone sort of said when we as a kid, generalising in our age somehow, don't know how that is, but like us growing up on like Mario 64 and games like that, Spyro the Dragon and fucking Banjo and Kazooie, this will be like the younger generation's version of that. So in years, 10, 15 years to go, they say this feels like it'll be like, oh, do you remember we used to play Astro Bot on that old PS5?
Yeah.
That fucking console that could only do 4K.
Could they do 120 frames, and now we're getting 400 frames out of our liquid screens that have been created.
Liquid, fucking what's that? Augmented reality shit.
Yeah, that's it. But Playroom.
It does, like you say, it definitely feels like a sort of a Nintendo art piece.
Yes,
solid.
Yeah, and the great thing about it, like we've alluded to, is this demo throughout the game, demoing the DualSense, demoing the rumble, demoing the haptic feedback, the triggers, whatever they're fucking called. It's hard to describe how good that controller is when it's firing on all cylinders and using all of the different features it's got. Like you mentioned, the triggers, it's incredible how that can simulate an action that you're doing in a game, whether it's pulling a bow back, whether it's loading a spring before you're about to make a dive. And that in itself is great. And then you have the rumble, which is there to simulate kind of the terrain that you're walking on, and you can feel when you're walking over sand. It's really strange, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah, rain. There's like rain and gravel.
I mean, I might have a leak. The rain might have genuinely got in here, but but the controller helps.
The controller really does help, and the touchpad. I'm not sure how good the touchpad was, but the first thing I did on this one was draw a cock, and it was perfect. it gives you like that little demo. It gives you just a sort of swipe, and it sort of shows the trail of your finger, and I drew a perfect symmetrically penis, and it came perfectly. I was like, cool. So all I really remember doing on that touchpad on the PS4 was sort of swiping. So there weren't many games that utilised the drawing of it. So I don't know if it was that precise, but yeah, some of that the blowing mechanisms.
All the fucking spit that's probably in my DualSense now, like where I had to blow into it. I was concerned about doing that, but it made you do it. Yes, that's the microphone, because there's a microphone built into the controller now. So if you don't have a headset, you can hear. It's still got the speakers, but the controller feels a bit slightly bigger than what the DualShock 4 was.
Yeah, it does have a bit more heft, and I've got to say I prefer it. I think. It just fits. It's a nice, comfortable. It feels different, so it feels new. It's got some weight to it, and I can't thank it. Like I was saying this to you earlier in the group. Was it yesterday? I think Biff was asking us what our reviews were and what will we be buying our sort of majority of our games on. And in my head, I thought I bought this as the PS5 for exclusive games. Yeah, maybe the odd one, but the majority of third-party games will be on that Xbox. Yeah. Now that this controller's here and I've felt it, that's now given me another bugbear now. So I'm not. I will always think about the resolutions and what consoles is getting an edge. Yeah. But now I've got to contend with this controller. If companies do start using this, and they're offering this cool feature of using this trigger that's now going to set Ronnie into a fucking pandemic.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. Like, if
Ronnie and Rodney will be having a fucking mare.
Yeah, we need some sort of website to go up and tell us whether the DualSense being used to its full capabilities. Because no shit, like, if we've seen some of the Digital Foundry stuff, it's not as much as I thought there would be at this time, but we've seen like a couple Assassin's Creed, we've seen a bit of Devil May Cry, Dirt 5 has come out this past weekend, and you know the PS5 on Creed Valhalla is winning. So this, and we'll probably get into this a bit later in more detail, but the assumption that it was going to be 10-15% slower than the Xbox Series X, at least initially, doesn't seem to be holding true. And the PS5's got the DualSense, so if there's games that are using that, it's another feather in its cap. And to me, even if it was 5, 10, 15, like there was a disparity between the resolution and the quality, but there was full DualSense implementation in the game, I would be tempted just to take the hit performance-wise and go with the DualSense, because to me, it changes and immerses you and interacts with the game at a far higher level than, you know, a couple of frames here and there, or a dynamic 4K versus a native 4K. Like, to me, this is more important than a bit of resolution bump. Now, if the difference is 30 frames versus 60 frames, then we're having a different conversation. But when all things are kind of even and here or there, the DualSense is a great tiebreaker. If it's being implemented, it's really a smart piece of kit. One of my favourite controllers. I've never really been a great fan of Sony's controllers over the years. I think Xbox have done excellent in that area, whereas they've gone for an evolution. This is kind of a revolution of the controller space, and it's something that's only exclusive to Sony at the moment. So it's a great thing to have with the PS5.
Definitely, it'd be interesting to see if Xbox have a sort of a follow up to this. You know,
they charge £110 for these Elite controllers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose they are, but you're not
What's
getting.
What's that feel? Ain't got any fucking haptic feedback, is it? Or dynamic triggers?
All the triggers off and put little blue ones on, though, can't you?
You can change the colour of it, that's for sure. Yeah. This has gone under the radar a little bit and only become, you know, once people start getting their hands. But can't stress enough, like, it's great. Like the DualSense is a great controller and is a significant boost to playing on the PS5 when it's implemented. And Astrobot is the perfect showcase of that, with all the different mini games and whatnot, which we won't spoil for the audience, but just know that you'll be in for a treat. Like, if you get the PS5, day one, just play Astrobot. Don't even worry about anything else. Get all your downloads sorted, get all your queuing sorted, do that, but jump straight into Astrobot, play it through, and you will not regret that decision.
No, unless you fucking don't pull your finger out and you let one of your friends fucking ruin your next gen experience and get the platinum before he does.
I did get the first platinum in Dimp.
He absolutely fucking shoved a sword into my heart. I thought he was joking at first because he had his profile set to private, so I thought he was on a wind up. And then he finally unleashes the dragon and shows me he's fucking gone and done it. Daggers to the heart. I can never get that back now, not at least for another 7 years.
Yeah, the first Platinum King. I always had that title on PS5. Yeah, I just couldn't get off it.
It's incredible. It's a shame it's so short. Like, the Platinum could be done in about 4.5 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just such a delight to play, and I've got to say, even the same as you, I was sort of mortified when it was over. There's little bits you can go back, you can do some speed running if you want to, but there's nothing new to see. But I would have loved a 10 to 15 hours of this stuff. I'd pay full price for it, I think, if they offered that again now. They went, well, you loved it so much, have another.
Yeah.
It even got me sniffing at Sackboy Adventures just because I thought it might be a similar experience.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But Astrobot, brilliant.
Yeah, it was smart little packing, and can't say enough positive things about that. Do not skip it, whatever you do.
Sony weren't so confident in it that they didn't sort of, stick it on their promotional stuff, like you get it on the box. I'm surprised you don't get like a free with this. As like
I mean, you got fucking Phil putting Halo Infinite on the back and it ain't even out.
Yeah. Just a little fucking Astrobot on here saying free with every console. It's like, like getting a Mega Drive with having Alex the Kid in there. You didn't even have to buy a game.
Yeah. So one last thing on the haptics and the new technology that are inside this controller. I can see the use case where if you're playing a competitive game like a shooter, you want this off because it's not going to enhance your experience, because really you want every edge you can get. And although for us, immersion and the great feeling we're having, if you're trying to pull that trigger and pop headshot on it, just gives you a bit too much resistance. You're going to start getting fed up with it. So I can see for competitive gaming, this is pretty much you can turn it all off. It's all completely optional. By default, it's on. You can turn it off. But I was watching Game Phase, which is Sifted's kind of weekly podcast, and Shane, the host, he plays a lot of Call of Duty when it comes out every year. He said every gun has its own trigger point, like its own tension, so you can feel the difference in each gun when you pull the trigger. But because you're looking for an edge in that, you don't want to be snarled up, right? He turned it off.
Cool. I'll tell you something that did blow my mind, talking in the same sort of vein as this, and if we're plugging other YouTubers, I follow a YouTuber called Jack Frags. He's like a PC gamer. Yeah. He was showing off Call of Duty on 120 frames of hertz, Yeah. And apparently the PS5 natively supports mouse and keyboard straight off the bat.
Jesus.
So he was playing Call of Duty at 120 frames with a mouse and keyboard. He was like, this literally feels like a Master Race experience. I was like, Jesus, that is incredible.
This one thing that Sony have not done well is communicate some of this stuff. This stuff we're just kind of unearthing as we play it and as people are getting hands on it. Whereas I feel like I know everything about the Xbox because they've kind of told us everything. Yeah. But
no one's ever said anything that a mouse and keyboard. That's like, there must be so many Master Race, like especially for that sort of gaming. Like you speak to anyone that's a PC gamer and they say, "Oh, I can't play console FPSs with a keyboard." That's peasants. Mouse and keyboard. So if you're getting 120 frames and what's it called, fucking mouse and keyboard support, cool. What's the Master Race got left?
Yeah, it's crazy town. I'm concerned that the triggers might break one day. It's my only concern at this point because it feels like this can't go on. But if they show some resilience, then it's going to be one of the all-time great controllers. How have you been on battery life on the PS5? Because Phil's given us AAs to put in. They're lasting about 25, 30 hours, but then I have to fucking replenish them every time. Phil, you're fucking.
I've noticed that mine's probably about halfway down, and a week and a bit up past.
Yeah.
I've now bought a battery pack for that.
Oh, okay.
PS5, I've only just because it sort of came half charged, and I've just started straight away, used it. Yeah. I've had one full charge. I think I played a few hours last night, and it's not even gone down a bar yet. So I should do some time tests and see.
Yeah. So I think I played Astrobot for like 4.5 hours maybe, and I think an hour and a bit of that was with it plugged in whilst it was charging. Okay. Charge it up first, and then I'd break and come back to it. So let's say 3 hours, and then on Spider-Man Remastered, I've probably done 4 or 5 hours before the little notification come up to say, "Hello, mate, you're running a bit low here." So between sort of 8-ish, 9-ish, 10-ish hours maybe, I think at top is what we might be looking to get out of this. But I think it's going to depend on what game you're playing. Like if you're hardcore using those features, it might drain it quicker.
That's going to drain it quicker, isn't it?
But nothing to worry about, I'd say, at this point.
No, definitely not, because that PS4, that seemed to fucking 1 or 2 sessions and you were fucked.
I have one plugged in all the time, mate.
PS4. Oh, of course, yeah, it's probably the way forward for all, really. But if you're kicking it back, this is certainly a lot longer than the PS4.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems to charge quick as well. This USB-C is the way forth. Everything is now USB-C, pretty much.
Yeah.
In my entertainment system. So yeah, but yeah, it's not one that the PS4. I think it was a lot of that was that light bar. That was a drainer.
Yeah.
It's
reflected off your fucking telly as well.
Yeah, you get a little bit of light on this, but not much. And yeah, so I don't think it's going to be a concern. It'd be interesting to see if sort of, maybe Digital Foundry won't, but a few other sites might be doing this sort of proper calculated lengths of time and really put the control to the test to see. But yeah, like you say, if you're getting 8 to 10 hours maybe on a long haul, that ain't too sad.
No,
especially if you're only playing a couple of hours a night, then it's beautiful.
Not at all. Any other comments about the box itself? I mean, the only other thing I noticed was that it's got one old school USB plug in the front. It used to have two, so I've had to plug my dongle for the wireless headset, the Pulse 3D, which I've played with it quite a bit, but I feel like I need to just find another game to give it another run through before I start telling people whether to get it or not. I mean, it's competent, it's comfortable, but I'm not feeling this 3D audio yet. I don't know if that's because I'm just playing Spider-Man Remastered or what, but with that, I'll put the dongle in the back of one of the USBs there, because the one in the front I was going to use to charge either the controller or the headset itself. So that's a bit of a stinker, only having one of those.
Yeah.
Those old school
the stand. That was a funny thing. Sort of, you have to twist it to open to reveal the little nut and
feel its bollocks. Yeah.
But we've noticed you have to keep that little slot open to be able to put it in. It's a weird feature. It doesn't muck with anything because there are sort of little rubber feet underneath. So it's
Ronnie's not happy though.
No, but yeah, it's open. You think, right, there's little dust getting in now. Little mice running under there.
Was you ever considering not using the stand?
I was until you said put it on, so until you scared me and said that toppling over.
Well,
I thought it is a bit top heavy, so I think you're right. So now I've done it. The trouble is like the way I had it, like you said earlier, I positioned it in front of me soundbar, and I thought, fucking hell, that stands another fucking
extra centimetres. Yeah,
that's another extra. So I thought I'll leave that off, and then I did get worried. And now it looks better with the stand. I think it does sort of complement it a bit. Yeah. So I stuck it on, and it stayed on. But yeah, funny design, the twisty feature, and then the way it works is that you twist to open the little holdall for the storage compartment for your little nub and your screw, but that also unlocks the keyhole to put the nut in.
Yes.
So you can't close it back up and put the screw in it. That shuts it off. So it's a funny old design. Yeah,
I mean it's good that it's included, because I don't think many.
No. Well, I've got
Scorpio edition came with one, if I remember correctly.
I've boxed up all my consoles now. I've got a fucking list of them here. I've got to go back up in the loft. But on the front cover of all the boxes, they're all got, like, even this PS4 Pro, they're all on a stand. Yeah. And I'm thinking, never had a fucking stand. Well, they do exist, but you have to pay, 20, 30 quid for one.
Dirty bastards.
So definitely a nice one to put in. The only other thing I'd say now, this could be considered a bit of a negative, but it might be nitpicking for me.
Nitpick at it. Get at these fuckers.
Get at these fuckers. The trouble is, that fucking PS4 Pro was such a leaf blower that was my biggest big bet. Like, the thing here, that was, if this was going to be a leaf blower, that was game over. I was going to stick to Xbox. Fuck your thing. Fuck your third party. You don't care about your haptic feedback. If I'm playing that and that's fucking blowing gusts at me, I'll be sick of it. So we get these previews because the Yanks are getting them a year. A week.
He's written the year off again.
They get it a week earlier, and we hear
felt like a fucking year.
Felt like a
waiting
year.
For it. It's like, oh,
we hear
God.
the headlines. It's Leaf Blower 2.0's here. No, it's not. It's silent, next to silent.
Yeah.
So Rodney starts going, right, is it fucking silent?
No.
I'm muting the telly. I'm muting the telly. Now, good news.
Yeah.
That fucking leaf blower is non-existent. When that gets up the load, that thing doesn't make a fucking peep. There's no fan noise. There's no dust kicking out. Absolute breeze. Perfect. On the other hand, because it's so silent and I'm listening to it, I can hear that fucking disk drive going.
Yeah.
Now, you ain't got that problem.
I haven't, but I will not be borrowing any games of you ever again. So that's hamstrung me.
So, is it me nitpicking because, it's a fucking disk drive? It's going to have to... There's a disk going round and round at fucking 100 miles an hour in there. It's going to make a noise. There's no getting out of that, I don't think.
Well, here's the simple question. Does the Xbox Series X do that?
Well, that's true.
And if it doesn't, get up, Jim. If it does, get up both of them.
I'm going to say, I don't know if it's just where... But I did notice it when installing a game. I heard it and it was loud. I thought, cool.
Well, when you're playing a game, though.
No, when I played the game, because I think it's sort of...
It's all coming off the system, innit? It's not using the disc.
So it seemed to boot... As it's booting up, you get the initial...
That's it.
And then it just chucks it off and you're golden. It's only that when it's maybe loading or something that this disc will start to spin and then it sort of shuts down. So it's not consistent noise. But if we are nitpicking, there is a loud thing. I tried... So, it's difficult. It's not a line, but like I say, I'm muting the telly to get this. This is real fucking nitpicking because I was my ears up against it, going, I can hear it. If you're sat back sort of 5-6 foot away, you've got your fucking telly on. You're not hearing this at all, so it's not a concern. But in the all scheme of things, and it's now got Rodney going. Should I have gone digital?
Right.
Sitting in. So it's something to consider. If people are saying it's fucking completely silent, then Rodney's going, well...
It ain't completely. It's not technically silent when that disc goes in.
So yeah, it's a thing. I've also seen... I don't know if it's people fucking making it up and scaring people, but there's some whine noise apparently that can come with the PC5. If you type in coil whine...
Right...
Look at that. Push square. PS5 coil whine complaints intensify as systems launch and things. And now that's fucking in the back of my mind now going, is it that disc or have I got this coil whine?
Oh,
fucking
never heard of it.
Complaints of PlayStation 5 coil whine are not going away as the system arrives to more homes and continues to be put through its paces. The issue is common with high-end graphic cards, so it's not wildly surprised that the next round, blah, blah, blah. But basically, unless your ear is next to the hardware, it won't be a problem. So there you go.
If Rodney stops doing that, then
exactly. So if I don't sit there with my fucking ear to the console looking up at the TV, it'll probably be all right. But yeah, there is this little buzz, and like I say, I'm assuming it's just the disc going round. But if I'm sitting back at the telly, it's no problem. But if I'm like I say, I'm nitpicking.
Yeah, well, the trouble is that's Jim Ryan and Sony's fault because of that fucking leaf blower. They've done that to you. They've made it an issue by putting together that fucking noisy bastard. Yeah. And that jet engine, like the trust there is gone. So now everyone's like on edge going, oh, is this one going to be a leaf blower? And to be honest, in the 2 years, once it's had a good shagging, it might revert back to it. Like, I don't know, the liquid cooling might not be as effective. It might just be a little bit more wear and tear. Like, it could happen.
I don't remember the leaf blower being straight out the gate. I swear.
Trouble is, we were so excited to have it, we were probably like writing it off, going, "Yeah, can't hear anything, mate."
Silent, and then then it becomes an issue. So no, it's something to think about. But like I say, it's not an issue unless you got your ears next to it. But if we're nitpicking, I'm going to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about just some of the games we've been playing, not necessarily dive into.
Hold on.
Go on.
Have you considered spray painting your PS?
I haven't.
I've seen some lovely ones, but I assume it don't void the warranty, but I like it. I don't like things. This is why when I was a PC game, I never really modded because I don't like disturbing what's already there.
No, I don't either.
If the game's completed and done, I don't mind having a little fart about, but I don't like that messing about, and that's what I feel like that. But I have seen some good ones, and there's people saying, it's better in black. Just wondering if you had the temptation to.
I'm like you. I don't like to fiddle with it at all. I'm not going to get fucking call up Buffin and get him to fucking spray paint it.
That's a shout, actually.
I can see why people don't. But then the trouble is, what would annoy me is that I'd have this lovely white black console, and then my controller will be white and my headset will be white. So I haven't sold anything. It's going to be not matching unless the whole lot gets fucking spray painted.
Get the old warranty out, fucking write that off and unscrew everything, and then give it Buffing the lot, the trifecta, and fucking
go do the lot for a deal, mate. Thank you. Games. Won't go into any sort of high level or low level reviews, just high level of what we've got, because one of the key differences is there has been games to play that came with the PS5. Granted, a lot of them available on PS4. But again, we talk about when you launch with something, like it's there, it's in the PlayStation ecosystem, and there are a couple of exclusives as well. So Bugsnax is on PlayStation Plus, so you can claim that and play through that. I've not touched it. Demon Souls, both of us are scared of that, but Adcock's working his way through it, so we'll get him on to review or talk about that in particular. See how he's got on with that. We had Astro's Playroom, and that's great. Sackboy, Big Adventures there lurking, and I guess the other sort of major one. There's a load of other third parties there, but the real big one is
one I've been sniffing at. Sort of the creators of Abzu, another one. But the trouble is with these games, I think that's going to come to PS Plus in about.
It's going to come to PS Plus or Game Pass, one of the two.
Yeah,
so you ain't got to be worried about it. It is a bit of a syndrome, those subscription services. And then Miles Morales and the Spider-Man remastered, if you want to go down that route and upgrade or have the Ultimate Edition or whatever it is. Still weird that it's not decoupled, but I've had a bit of a stink with Spider-Man remastered, as I just mentioned. Just before I came on, I accidentally downloaded an old save file from the cloud. It was about 3 hours old, and it overwrote immediately my latest save, so I lost 2-3 hours worth of progress. It was user error, but it didn't give me really a chance to know what I was doing. I just pressed the button and it did it, and I was like, oh shit.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this is going to overwrite. Like, in my view, it should say, right, here's the timestamp for the cloud one, here's the timestamp for the one that's on your PlayStation. This one's newer. Are you sure you want to overwrite with the old one? And I'll go, oh, no, of course I don't. But no, I'll just press the button, not really knowing what it done. It's a little cloud icon. It just went, and that was it. So, not happy with that. But the remaster is it's a little bit unstable. Like, technically, it's a little bit unstable. I've had it crash twice. Biff's had it crash. And he had a glitch where Spider-Man was just walking into a wall and he couldn't turn the console off. I think he just had to pull the plug out in the end, which
could brick that system. I'm the PS4.
No. There's something not right about that remaster. The great thing is it's got kind of like the fidelity mode and now 60 frames per second, and having played both, like the ray trace 30 and the 60, like the ray tracing is nice, don't get me wrong, them puddles and those skyscraper windows, but the 60s, good lord, that is a game that fucking is butter good on it. And I mean, have you been playing Miles Morales?
I played an hour of Miles Morales, and the thing with this next gen is, like, you've got those options now. Even on the Xbox side, everything I've played so far has been 60 frames.
Yeah, and the Creed, that fucking bloater is butter smooth.
That bloater is butter smooth. The next gen experience, fucking anything, even the old PS4 games, they're all butter smooth 60.
Days Gone, like that's technically a bit of a fucking pig. That's got a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
for PS5.
What's going to be the problem? Today I saw there's already bloody Watch Dogs Legion's been chopped down by 20 quid already.
Yeah.
A week later, and I'm sitting there thinking, cool, but did a little bit of research, and that's only 30 FPS. I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I just want this to continue, and that be the new next gen. That's the new minimum, but it does look like 30 is still going to be.
I still think it's going to be,
around.
it's not going to be gone for sure. I still think we're going to have either the option,
Yeah,
for some of the big
that's what I
games, like the Rockstar games, I can just see being 30 still because they're pushing so much fidelity. Like the same with like The Last of Us Part 3 if we get on a Naughty Dog game. Yeah, it could be wrong. I hope I am wrong because 60, I know all the fucking Master Race people are fucking cackling. They go, what are they fucking talking about 30 frames versus 60 frames? I'm sitting on 120 frames, you can't. But a different kettle of fish for these consoles, unfortunately. It's a bit of a treat when we get the 60 as an option.
It is hilarious that, this is, the Master Race are cackling, but it does just, I know I said before, I think some of the previous things, I was always not bothered about frame rate, and if we had these options, which we did on the PS4 Pro, I think with God of War, there was one for the PS4 Pro, and I always just thought, fuck it, 30 FPS, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
But now with this next gen, it just, once you go 60, it's so hard to go back now, and I'm sort of happy to take a bit of cut on the fidelity side.
Yeah.
So, but I just wish that they all, I don't care even if it's, maybe not 1080p, but a 1440.
Yeah.
One of these dynamics, then I don't know. It's like I can pretend it's 4K.
The thing is, like, all that dynamic stuff still looks great.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
It's only when you get the Digital Foundry fucking still shot and they go, cool, look at that fucking gravel on that one. You go, oh yeah, I can see it now. But generally, the 60 FPS mode in a lot of these games, they still look fucking ace. Like, you're missing in the ray tracing in the Spider-Man games, which, okay, some people will want to see that tech showcased, but the experience of playing the game is just, as Richard Ledbetter would say, transformative. And it does transform some of these games and into it. So the two Spider-Mans have that option. What else have you been up to? Because I know you fiddled around a bit of God of War, and you've been doing some experimentation.
So just Astro and Miles, and an hour of Miles. I'm going to stick some more in tonight, I think. But then I installed 3 PS4 games just to see. I played through God of War. I thought I'd seen some. I didn't. I went back and backtracked, and in my head I said thought there was a 4K 60 patch.
Yeah.
There wasn't. It was basically what was already on the PS4 that I didn't know. For PS4 Pro, and it was just it was a 1080p 60 frames, and a 4K fidelity 30.
Yeah.
And the one on the PS4 Pro used to go up to about 40 FPS, they reckoned. Now, This is an absolute liquid 60. It's like I say, you do take a hit. It's very hard to see the difference. I was taking photos and sending them to you through WhatsApp, which is probably the worst thing you could ever do. The compression on that is ridiculous. But like you say, it's in motion. It's still such a good-looking game. It's only that side by side, and when you're playing the game, that sort of shit goes out of your head after a little bit, unless it's muddy textures.
You just watch
everywhere
that fucking axe flying around, and you're like, look at the liquid on that, steaming around the fucking environment.
So so the boost on that, it makes me want to play through it. And it looks solid, and they're already saying that there's going to be a next gen update for God of War, so it'd be interesting to see.
Like a nice little patch to up the res a bit.
Patch. Even if they up that to 1440 at 60, that'd be lovely. All this dynamic shit.
Yeah.
Or stick a bit of fucking ray tracing on the 30 mode. I'd love to see some of that. And then I also, the main one I wanted to, not because it's a great, fantastic game, was Marvel's Avengers.
Oh, yes. 96% drop, isn't there, in player base or something stupid?
And I'm not surprised. And the reason why I think that is because, and if you go back to my review,
you said pig.
Absolutely, this was the pig of the generation. What's it called? No Man's Sky. It wasn't fucking renowned as shit for its performance. Its performance was a bit shit, but the game didn't have anything. This game's got a bit about it, but not a lot, but a little bit. But the performance of that game was the worst. How that got through the fucking gate and they went, yeah, ship that out, I do not know. To the point now, I run this on the PS5 Pro, flawless. Runs at a perfect 60.
Oh, really?
Fucking shit going off. You're getting trouble with this one. I did notice a big hit in fidelity on this one.
Right.
Like, it wasn't as bad as God of War. God of War sort of still stuck and looked this gorgeous. This was quite muddy, and they've already said that there was like a little raw war table update the other day, and they said that the new patch is coming, be early 21. Nice. And it does need, but the thing was, this game, it just needed smooth, because it was this looter shooter and a sort of Destiny type. It needs that smoothness, and it pissed me off so much that I wish I could now play it again. Because I remember, if you listen back to my review with this 60 mode, I remember saying, like,
soured
in the campaign. I still rate that campaign. I think that's a brilliant campaign, should be played.
Yes.
But there was moments in it that made it feel like a sort of Uncharted or a Tomb Raider game, but they were just so let down because of the poor performance. So it sort of was stuttering, and it just took you out of the experience. So I'm sort of pissed off now that I want to go back through it and play the campaign again in this smooth liquid. So someone like yourself who hasn't played it, I'd definitely recommend you play it now in this backwards compatible at 4K, or not 4K, but whatever it is, in smooth 60, and you'll get the proper experience. Then obviously as soon as it kicks into the fucking after that campaign, bin it like the other 96% of us have. But just that, just picking up that game, and that game was absolute fucking shit on for its performance, rightly so. But we stick it into this new console, and it's fucking seamless, perfect 60.
Yeah, I think it's fair to point out that would be the same, or you'd expect it to be similar for the Series X, like if you plug it in there. But I'll caveat that by saying that, and we mentioned this when we did our PlayStation 4 retrospective, just how many great games were on the PS4 only. Like some of our favourite games of all time in some cases, and certainly some of our games of the generation. The fact that library on the PS4 is so strong, it really enhances the backwards compatibility features, because some of our favourite games are there to select from, and it's paying dividends. Like that work they've put in for the PS4 now is a compelling reason for PS5 owners to either go back and play it, or if you've jumped ship, you can play those games at their absolute best now, and you're going to have a great time. Whereas, the Series X had a handful of good games, but the library, we've said it, there's no point, hurting Phil even more, because he won't be friend of the show anymore. But they've been pistol over on the software front, and go on.
I'll tell you how good that backwards compatible is on the PS5.
Yeah.
That two of my friends are now playing Days Gone today.
Yeah.
Adcock and then Pasola as well.
Yeah.
Both playing Days Gone.
Yes.
How would you Adam and Eve it in 2020? The 6 out of 10 50-hour campaign.
It's certainly the hard work was done last generation. It's helping this gen, and all the third party stuff Series X will have. You can say, well, I can do that as well, and it's like, yeah, you can, but the library of those exclusives just aren't there. And now we've got temptations to go and revisit stuff. Like that God of War, I was putting off a second playthrough in hope that they would do something like this, and it sounds like they've done the sort of foundation work that was required, and now if they do build it and put in like a proper patch, like that's getting played again in 2021. That's getting played before Ragnarok ain't coming 2021. I'm calling it now, but that's getting played again. It's as simple as that. Uncharted 4, that's gonna get played again. Last of Us Part 2, if that gets a little 60 update or something in that's gonna get played again. Like the value of this the console, though, yes, it's replaying old games, but it's it's given us the opportunity to play them at the very best. Now, there is a question on whether they will fucking fleece us like they have done with the Spider-Man remaster and go, well, you've got to be buying the remaster. So the jury's still out on that. However, as it stands, we have Spider-Man Remastered, which is not, in my opinion, a very stable game at present. As I said, the crashes and whatnot, and the saving. Well, the saving was my fault, but I will say the console didn't help me in that aspect. But if they are just patched in, then that's great news. But we have to be mindful of the fact that they could go £35 for definitive edition, and then you're going to pay it, aren't you? It's as simple as that, and it's pants down, and the goodwill kind of evaporates because it's a monetary thing. But I do hope that Spider-Man is the outlier, but at the moment we haven't got any evidence to put all our eggs in either basket just yet.
I hope so, because Xbox have been, with their Gears and Forza, they've sort of, it's not just the backwards compatible stuff. It is that they're enhancing it and sticking these little bits of ray tracing in and little bits, and they've been all free. So we hope so. Maybe I think Spider-Man was like, right, well, we're doing this Miles game. How can we turn this into a full full £70 out of these fuckers, and as they were doing the update anyway, maybe they just thought, fuck it, Like even now, because I've just got the Miles thing, it even gives me the option. It says upgrade for 20 quid extra. Yeah, you can see that going down, and but I just hope that a lot of these companies go, nah, it's a free one, because that will make them look good as well. It's certainly it's. I mean, I'd pay for the remasters, but I would not be obviously as positive about doing that, considering it depends how much work goes into it, obviously. But I think in most of these cases, it is going to be an unlocking of frame rates and a bit of fucking boost added to it, not new content or anything like that. Would you pay for a monetary boost to Bloodborne? Will you put yourself?
Oh no, I would, but I'd moan about it. So that's the trade-off. Yeah. If Jim wants to become friend of the show like Phil is, he can't be doing things like that. So it's up to him. If he wants to be friend, he can provide these updates at no extra charge, and we'll start being good mates for this PS5 era. But if he starts charging for him, he can go fuck himself. Phil's going to get all the
surprise me. It's fucking. I suppose you don't pay for it anyway, do you? There was a 120 frames update for Warzone that just snuck out apparently, and I thought, cool, how's fucking Call of Duty, the richest fuckers out there, chuck that out for free?
True.
That would have been a fucking remaster jobby. They'd done it with all the old Call of Duty.
They didn't they? Done Modern Warfare remastered and all that good stuff. I mean, last generation it was all remasters. There was no backwards compatibility to the
Of course.
Let's correct that. On the PS3 to PS4 there was no backwards compatibility, or the other way.
Yeah.
Xbox didn't have it, then added it, and then it kind of got a bit muddy. But by that time was in this accepting that remasters were a thing. Now Xbox have certainly set a precedent saying no, it's going to be a smart delivered upgrade. In our case, third parties, we encourage them to do that, and Sony now have got a decision to make. Do they play ball and try and be friend of the show, or do they just go, nah, 2 fingers up, don't care about your idle game chat friends and your fucking Indian fan base? And I say, well, there's a lot of people there, mate, and we have a lot of influence, so if you want to be big over there, you best be getting friend of the show and give these updates out. Anyway, well, that's kind of all the main bits I wanted to cover for the PS5. I did want to read Biff's review out quickly of the PS5. So Bin a Lot he got one day one. He's had no console for months on end because he sold them early to try and maximise the profits that could be made, or the money that could be recuperated. So I was asked for his classic kind of review. He said, too big, shit colour, games look fantastic, not worth getting yet. And then he's put next afterwards. I don't know what that means. Oh, next. Right, there you go. Not worth getting yet. Next. So there's the Bin a Lot review. So if you are one of those that has missed out and wanted one and are feeling a bit FOMO, there's been a lot saying don't worry about it, not worth getting yet. So
Yeah.
you know, you can take that to the bank really. Let's close out with the Showdown. Series X versus the
I'll tell you what,
PS5.
just before the Showdown,
on
I
then.
just want to get a little something.
Are you plugging more fucking YouTubers?
Yeah, there's a little
Alana
YouTuber.
Pierce.
Alana Pierce, lovely girl. Congratulate her on her job.
She's up for content creator of the Game Awards.
Yeah, she's had a real big year, this silly slag. No, I do follow her quite a lot, but she's one of these.
I wonder
she's
why.
annoying. She's annoying, but I do like her. I do like her, but no, I digress. No, I just wanted your thoughts of what you would like to see after playing with the UI for a little bit. So this is pretty much UI specific, actually.
Yeah.
What would you like to see them do, change, or update in the next months coming up, like the next 6 months? What would you like to make your experience a little bit nicer? What is there any changes you'd like them to add?
Well, I want them to explain to me what happens when I click that cloud button and it's going to fucking overwrite a more recent save. That's one thing I want a warning of. You know what? I am pretty satisfied with it. In all honesty, I'm trying to think of features that I would realistically use. The only thing I haven't, and this is I've not researched it or done it, so I don't know if this is the case. But on the PS4, when I would stream, I would use a capture device, and on the Xbox, you plug in your earphones. The sound will come out of your headphones, which is great. You can hear it, but it also come out of the telly as well. So normally you mute it because you don't need to ever hear two sounds. But what that enables you to do is when you had a capture device to stream on a PC via OBS, is I could still hear the game and also the sound feed would go into the PC still, so I could pick it up. So people that will watch on the stream could also hear the game and me, and they didn't hear an echo off the telly. So that was a really good setup. With the PS4, and I've noticed that it seems to be doing the same with the PS5, but I've not tested it, so I'm not going to commit to it. When you put the headsets in, it recognises you've got a headset plugged in or connected or however you've done it, and it will remove the sound from your telly, so you'll get nothing outputting out of your telly, and it'll just go through your earphones, which in most cases is great. But when it comes to streaming, you couldn't get the game audio into the capture device and into your PC unless you bought a optical headphone, which is what I ended up doing, and set of headphones that had an optical output and input where it would split the sound. So one would come through the earphones, one would go to the HDMI capture device. People watching could hear, I could hear, no echo coming out of the TV. Now, PS5 has an optical. So Biff run into that problem with his poor soundbar that he went and bought. He had to buy a new soundbar because the optical slot isn't there anymore, and then he got HDMI one, didn't realise it was HDMI ARC, which his monitor doesn't support, so he couldn't plug that in, so he's had to go back and get another one. So I'm wondering whether it's the same issue here with the PS5, because simply when I put the Pulse headset on, the sound disappears from the output of the telly, so I need to really test that. But if that is the case, fucking update it so that it still comes out of both sources, or at least it's an option without an optical headset.
That's it. It seems like we are going to be getting a few updates, because there's a few things it doesn't support. Dolby Atmos is another thing that it doesn't support after launch. Can't even fucking update that storage yet. That's still not allowed yet, which is amazing. They've got a bit of backlash for that. So little things are coming. Here's one I don't like. That I'd like one actually. The trophies. There's a lot of things on this UI that I do like, and I'll go into them in a sec. But the trophies, I don't like this horizontal listing of them. I want to be able to go down the original way. I don't like going. That's my only option. I can only sort these in horizontal.
Right. So,
go across the list. That's me only gripe. So I want a little fucking salt bar at the top there, please, Jim, with a salt vertically, and I can go down my list. Like which is a fucking brilliant feature. This is one of the best things. It fucking ticked the right box for me.
Yep.
I can now click on my profile.
Yep.
Click on my games, and it tells me how long I've played.
Yes.
Oh, I love that fucking feature. And that goes down vertically exactly how I wanted.
Yeah.
Put my fucking trophies like that, Jim. I want to see where my trophies are going that way.
Yeah.
And
on that
note,
I want to have to delete things off that list.
yes, I want to do. Yeah, very true.
Jim, let me edit that. You prat.
Let me edit that because I've got demos telling me I've only played it for less than an hour. I've got fucking Death Stranding being split into 2 bits.
Yeah.
What's happening here, Jim? There's something not right with that, so that needs an update. But very good. But I've got to give a big clap for the game time, which fucking infuriating because it's counted all my games, even back to the PS4. My first original tells me how many hours I played fucking Killzone or how long I played Order. And it's been counting. It's been fucking counting in the background, you bastard. Why didn't I get that on PS4? Xbox has been doing it for fucking 7 years. So, I'm very proud. And that new feature of the fucking trophy guide, where it teaches you, that was so good in Astro.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that actually. I used that for a few of the finding some of the artifacts and the puzzle pieces.
And it's so good because I had like one bit where I had 4 more bits of puzzles to do, and it knows which ones I've got and which ones I've got left.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'd find one, I think, I've got to get the next one. It fucking knows exactly where I am in the level, so it's the next one to get.
Crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah,
So,
if you are a trophy hunter, and especially on like the collectibles front, not only does it show you where they are, so if you're struggling to find them, or you just want to get them, so you could the little preview box will show you. In most cases, you can hit resume or go to, and it will take you to the closest point in the game where you can get that collectible. So it'll take you to the level or the area, and yeah, that's really smart and clever. I'm not too much of a trophy hunter, but obviously getting the first platinum was key. But there are instances where I will do that. So that is a great little feature. All those little walkthrough YouTube channels going down the fucking shit pan now. Because Jim's put that in.
This is another reason why I'm half considering getting Demon Souls. Is there was 180 help videos added via that system.
Yeah.
So it's just a brilliant feature, hands off. But yeah, I just wondered if there was like a couple of little bits that you'd like to see, like you mentioned, that holding that PlayStation button. Give us old people.
Yeah. Let's switch back.
Let's switch back. Maybe that'll help us.
Yeah.
But
the other thing I'd like them to do, and this is really like niche and delving into like enthusiast stuff, but again, plug in more YouTube channels. HD TV Tests, good old Vincent, who reviews televisions primarily, and he's done a lot of videos on the next generation consoles or the current generation consoles, like what displays are good for them, blah, 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 blah. He's put up a couple of videos about, and this is really like, if you want to really nitpick, this is kind of what his thing is. He mentions that the HDMI 2.1 bandwidth for the PS5 is capped at 32 gigabits per second, and what that essentially means, and this is very layman's terms, so don't come after me if I've just simplified it too much, but I've got fucking Adkins on the other side of the feed, he's got to understand it, is that you haven't got access to the full color depth that is usually offered at HDMI 2.1. So for example, Series X is 40 gigabits per second, and then you can put, like you mentioned when we do the setups, you put that into PC mode, that display, and then you get access to full 444 chroma, it's called. Now the PS5 is not at present capable of doing that. It's it's capped at 32, so you have to, there's like the YUV settings and things like that. Naked eye, you ain't gonna fucking notice, I can almost guarantee you, but it's just one of those things where you think, what's going on under the hood with some of these things?
And Rodney needs to set up, so give us them options. What I'd like to see, and you know, these consoles, they want to be PCs now, they're doing 120 frames, they're fucking supporting mouse and keyboard. Give me a little fucking frame rate counter in the game. I could do it on my new telly. I just bash that little green button, it comes up. But I'd quite like to see a thing, you know, I know digital, it's probably not great for them because it shows their imperfections, but it'd be a nice little feature, but I don't think, I'm nitpicking now.
Yeah.
Do you want themes? Would you like to see themes come back?
Yeah, I love the themes. I actually really... the thing I loved about the themes was I never used to put on a theme unless it would change the music. And
the dynamic one.
Yeah, the dynamic one. So some of them were dynamic and they changed the pictures and whatnot, but there was a handful, actually more than a handful, that would have music from the game or the movie or whatnot. I really loved having those on because if I was playing a specific game, I would put on like the Last of Us one or the God of War one to whenever I turned the PlayStation on, I was like, oh, here we go. This is what we're doing with this. Yeah. So I'd like some sort of theme to return. I mean, it's difficult now because every tile seems to project like a picture of the game. And that's kind of like overtaken the visual side, but I would love a musical kind of overlay to kind of overtake that. That's what I did like, those dynamic themes, I must say.
They're nice. Talking of the tiles, there's one annoyance to me is some games have dynamic music when you click on them, some don't.
Some don't, yeah.
And the big ones like God of War doesn't. So
maybe it's a PS4 game.
Yeah, no, because Persona 5 does.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Persona 5. I haven't played it, but that's got a dynamics. Corey needs to update it and give us some music every time we click on it.
Yep.
Although, yeah, it can be quite nice. It's nice, quite nice background music, and then all of a sudden, then fucking the drum and bass, the trap music of
the drum and bass shit on it.
Miles Morales comes kicking in. Yeah, so no, it's quite good. But overall, I'm happy with the experience. I'm just interested to see if there's any little things you'd like to change, like
I haven't fiddled too much, in all honesty. I've literally just been getting into the game, like booting it up, takes 4 seconds, hitting Spider-Man Remastered, getting in the game in less than 10 seconds because they've cleverly, for that game, sort of removed all the nonsense where you have to watch the developer's name come up and it shows you. It just goes straight to the menu, bang, bang, and you're in like 12 seconds or so. So I haven't really fiddled with the controller of the...
See what they have done. Fucking Jim Ryan's ruined my fucking snooping, my spying on each... They've completely removed the what's new section.
Oh,
so
dear.
I can't see any trophies being collected. I can't see any games that people are playing, any likes, any comments. It's all gone. So I can only spy on your trophies if you let me.
Wow, that's probably a good thing in my case.
I was going to say, you quite like that feature. I do like spying on people, so I've got the app still, so I'm constantly looking, checking who's getting what. But
keeping an eye on things, making sure people are doing what they say.
Yeah, I quite like that, but no, he's chucked that feature out. Even now, I go onto the website where it used to be, and it goes, no, error, can't look at it.
Yeah.
Fucking it.
Well,
but that's it. That's all I wanted to just bug.
Excellent. Well, the gaming gods have blessed us with 2 good to great consoles, like Xbox Series X, a great piece of engineered product in terms of just how everything fits into that box. PS5 coming out swinging with its new features and new controllers and whatnot. And the gaming gods want a tribute. They want to know which one of these we're going to raise up to them just for the launch window, just for this initial few months in launch, what we believe is the better package. And they want that tribute from us today, to go out on this podcast. So Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5. Sorry, Series S, you're in the bins. Which one of these are you going to raise and give to the gaming gods as a tribute? And say this is for all my sins from last generation, all the bollocks I spoke about beating Bloodborne. Here is my tribute to you. Have the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X.
Now, I tell you, I could make this question a whole lot harder.
Oh dear.
Are we just going console to console, or what if I bundled that fucking Game Pass into Xbox?
You are going on everything.
On everything,
the whole lot, yeah. So that Game Pass is part of it, because
so if you've not got any console, you've got nothing at all. You're a little peasant. I had a Game Gear, and now I want to get back into gaming. Yeah,
yeah.
I've got an
Yellow
Xbox
boots.
Series X. Yellow boots. Yeah, he could be right. He's got an Xbox Series X. He can have Game Pass with it, and he could play Yakuza and what else was it? Was that it? Oh, Assassin's Creed on his game. Or you've got the PS5 with its haptics. You can buy any old PS4 game, and you can buy Miles Morales and Demon Souls.
Got the PlayStation Instant Collection there if you want to have a sniff around that as well. Gives you a good little boost, doesn't it? Both do.
Yeah, I mean, because of the whole package, it's hard. I think if I'm just comparing the console on its own, PS5 versus Xbox, I think PS5 is a clear winner. A clear winner. As a package as a whole, I think PS5 still wins.
Right, yeah.
I think the margin is cut because of that Game Pass. I think the fact that you could get this game, like you buy a PS5, you've got the backwards compatibility, but you've got to go out and buy all those games. You've got to have you've got to buy 100 PS4 games. It's costing you money. I could pay £7 for a month. I've got 100 games on Xbox.
Yeah.
That's a good feature, brilliant feature. But I think the new features of the PS5, that new Rumble, the new UI, the difference, that's given it the edge for me. If I was to chuck one of these in the bin, it'd have to be the Series X. I think.
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly scenarios that you can that kind of have to be mentioned and played out. In that, if you like casuals who don't really care too much and just want to play it, like if you got this for a kid, like a youngster kid, the Xbox Game Pass is just a no-brainer because you just chuck them on there and go do what you want. Like, you've got 100 odd games to play. You've never got to buy them a game again. So long as they're not going on fucking Digital Foundry looking at the PS5 stuff and they don't know that God of War exists, then you're laughing. So there's definitely... The Xbox Game Pass is certainly a huge X factor. And other scenarios, I think... And this is where I kind of ultimately fall down. Once I got the PS5, I was much happier. Like, in these days afterwards, I've been really upbeat. My wife will tell you differently, but that's because she's making poor dinners. But I was much happier once I got the PS5. It might have just been the fact that it kind of completed like getting both of them, and it was nice to have them. But the Astro's Playroom kind of took me kind of back to being just like really fundamental, just joy. And I just feel like it's in terms of like an enthusiast side, the changes they've made are, whilst not groundbreaking, I think Biff's right to say probably don't need one yet, but if you have invested, there's still stuff to say, well, this is what I've got for my money. And I think that's ultimately where I fall down on, is that the PS5 just feels like a much bigger step, even though horsepower wise they're neck and neck. Maybe Xbox a bit better, maybe PS5 is being utilised better in some situations, but I feel like a much more refreshed experience of PS5, and I'm enjoying that side of things much more. And on the other side of things, if you're an Xbox One owner, the jump to go to an Xbox Series X is almost zero. Like, it's not zero because there's still fidelity in bits and pieces, like Valhalla running at 60, but there's such a small reason to do that. And if you're going from Xbox to PS5, there's lots of reasons to do that. There's all those great games that are available not only on day one. You've got the instant collection there that you can only get on PS5, so you could play some of the best of last gen. And if you wanted to fill in your library, you've got all those great last gen games to go back to.
Just quickly before I forget that, there's a loophole in the system for any of you PS Plus users, and I'm talking to the boys that ain't got a PS5.
Yeah.
If you've got a mate that's got a PS5, fucking get at him.
Yeah.
Pasolo ain't got a PS5. He's got PS4. You can log into someone's PS5 and get up at that PS collection. You just add them all to your library, then go back to your PS4 and install them. Get up at them, because it's only available on PS5.
Yeah.
Carry on.
It's I don't know if it's a limited time or...
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure if they... Well...
But he can now play them on his PS4, correct? Because they're PS4 games.
Yeah, because they're PS4, but you can't get at them. Even being a PS4, PS Plus member, you still can't get them unless he's got a PS5. But
what do you think of that? Do you think that's a bit naughty?
I do, yeah. I mean, I get it. It's part of the PS5. Like, it's people that didn't buy a PS4.
Yeah.
So they've just come straight into PS5. It's a nice welcome to go, look, this is our backwards compatible feature. Here are some of the best games, fucking, the likes of Mortal Kombat 11 and, and Crash Bandicoot trilogy. That's the sort of fidelity you get. No, you're getting fucking God of War, fucking Persona 5, Days Gone, all that fucking jazz, Child 4. I think it's a phenomenal thing to get that all out for free. It's really good. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, very good. But yeah, to lock the PS4 people off, it's a bit of a naughty one.
They ain't put hand in pocket, have they, like we have?
No, that's true. That is true.
It is cruel. I don't think it's a big deal, but I kind of get it because there's no technical reason why I've done it. It's just
that's true.
Because you bought a PS5, which, one hand, we've bought one. Like, it's nice to feel like a bit special. On the other hand, I can see if you're a PS4 owner, you're a bit like, wow, why am I being shunned out of the code?
The people that are going to buy one, they're sort of, just wait, I want one, but I can't get hold of it. If you let me, I'll give you my money. They're putting their hand in pocket, but they're getting stung out. The thing I want to know is, I assume this would be PlayStation's answer to Game Pass, and this was the beginning.
Yeah.
It seems like Jim's come out in the woodwork this last weekend and said
it could be.
No, we've got a answer to the Game Pass, but we ain't talking about it yet. So hold your fucking horses. So. Is he going to start fresh? Is he going to boost up PS Now? Yes. Or is he going to stick with the PS collection? Who knows?
It'd be interesting. And then the last use case is if you was on a PS4 and you're looking at these two options, yes, there's certainly a reason to jump over to Series X if you didn't have an Xbox One. There's some good games to play from going backwards, and the exclusives aren't quite there or look like they're coming just yet, but you've still got a good back catalogue to go to, and you've got the Game Pass effect to go for. I still think that's less competitive than going from an Xbox One to a PlayStation, but it's still a reason. I can see some people doing that because they've been,
especially with these fucking acquisitions they're getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the certain thing, that's all going to be Dishonored. Bethesda, sorry, now they're in the market for a fucking huge Japanese one. People talking about Sega or Capcom. Got to get up at them.
Yeah, so they've got a compelling reason to switch. But if you've got a PS4 and you're looking and sniffing around PS5, I still think there's still just about enough there to warrant an upgrade with the haptics and whatnot. Again, like we're talking launch window, like for now, for the next foreseeable few months or so, until things settle down, until we get maybe some more releases and announcements coming out. But I feel like that's ultimately, again, what I fall to the PlayStation side is simply because I feel like there's more compelling reasons if you've already got the PlayStation to go to the PS5, whereas on the Xbox side, going to the Series X, nada, not a lot. It's very, very minute. And I think last week we gave the Series X a bit of a grilling, and we've given PS5 a bit of a grilling, but it feels like to me that our mood we're far more satisfied with our PS5s. And the Series X, although it's a fantastic machine itself, we just need those. I ended the last podcast saying it just needs that content to start filling out. These acquisitions start fucking pumping out a couple of games a year, and then Phil could be cooking with gas. But we're in 2020, late 2020, going into 2021. At the moment, I would say that the launch battle, whatever you want to call it, I would say the PS5 has been the winner, and I would give my tribute to the gaming gods. I would give them the PS5 so they don't completely shit all over me.
No, I'm in agreement with you there. I think you're bob on right. It felt like Christmas Day, and long may it remain. Christmas.
I had a shitload of wine that night.
Just got absolutely battered, and it's one you got day one, so the game got gifted you day one.
Yes,
for real.
Didn't get stiffed out of it. It was just a great experience, and I'm enjoying booting it all up and whatnot. But it can all change, like in the next 6 to 12 months. Here we go.
Have you switched your Xbox Series X on since the PS5?
No, but that's not because... no, that sounds horrible, Phil. Still a friend of the show. No, that's not because of what you think it is.
No,
it's simply because we were doing this podcast and I wanted to give it 100% attention and try and get, as much as I can do it through it. Like, it's not perfect. Both of these consoles, hats off to getting them out because of what we've had this year. They've both come in. Yes, there's some issues on both sides. Some of the games there's issues
that
and
fucking
whatnot.
quick resume ain't working. Phil, pull your finger out. I tried it last night. I thought the same. I thought, I ain't turned that on for 2 days. I better go back to the Xbox. I turned it on. I went, let's see if anything's working. I went from Forza to Assassin's Creed, went back to Forza, quick resume, perfect. Went back to fucking Creed, dead. Reset it. I was like, right, that was working 2 days ago. What's happening?
Yeah.
So something ain't right.
Quick resume my arse.
Yeah, quick resume. It don't work. Get App'em. But no, there's little nits and things, and it's gonna, it's teething problems. This will all get ironed out. But it's nice to have both. Like you say, I wouldn't suggest people go out. I'll tell you what you don't do is you don't go on eBay and pay fucking £1,000
for either of them. No.
Yeah, don't be doing that.
No.
If you're gonna want to get one if you can, pre-order it. But once these start coming into stock more heavily, in the new year, early January, maybe we'll start seeing some new games come out just after Q1, and then crack on. So the potential is here, and what a gen this is going to be. Yeah,
and last thing, like I mentioned it just briefly, but considering the challenges of this year, really impressed that both have got I'm assuming this was sort of the aim around this time. There was both
so many rumours that this was going to they were going to delay both consoles, and we were looking at 21. So to get both out.
There's a separate discussion, and I won't do it now because this is a long one, but I do wonder whether Xbox, we talk about different direction that they waffle on about. They want Game Pass, they want this, they want that. I would suggest that if you want that and you are truly committed to a change of direction or a different direction to what you feel Sony's on, don't release your consoles head to head. Give yourself some space, because what's happened is, particularly in this second week, as people got the PS5s last Thursday and then this Thursday, is all the momentum's kind of just bundled up and gone with PS5 because of all the haptics and stuff, and then the hype around the Series X is a little bit down at the moment. And if they had just said, Sony, you can have this Christmas, bin it, we'll go spring next year or whatever, they could have done a whole big launch around that, and it would have just been Xbox. And if you keep saying that people keep saying they're in this different strategy and they try and do something different, that's one way to do it. Don't compete directly, and maybe they're like, well, we was going to release it that day anyway, as our plans, blah 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 blah. But I think there's something to be had. And Phil, if you want any consultation, me and the Dimp guys do offer that service at a price. So inbox us. PMs and DMs are open. Right, close it down. That's it. Next gen, we're here. We're in current gen. Hey, we had
the Switch still ain't been turned on for a good 2 months.
That poor old Switch. I'm waiting for the fucking Pro Edition to come out now. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Well, not a secret. So this is the plan. Now, whether this happens or not, next week, Hall of Fame episode, the class of 2020, kind of cocked that up this year and left it late. So it's not going to be in the format I think we'll keep. It's something will happen next year. It might be a bit different, but it's going to be an episode where we induct, I think it's 5 games that we've got all done, and sort of just got to make sure we get the content in place for that. So look forward to a Hall of Fame episode potentially next week. Gaming quiz, that'll be fast approaching in early December. That could be the week after potentially, and then after that it'll be the fantasy gaming draft results. All the scores will be in. So that's 3 weeks worth of stuff that is either starting next week or shortly afterwards. And then after that, there was a thought to kind of hanging up the boots over Christmas and coming back strong 2021. Whether that happens or not, I don't know, because there's so many games that we've not even touched on, really. Like, we like to talk about games generally, but because of the last few months and because of the console launches, we've been doing a lot of hardware stuff and like reaction to like the press conferences and all that bollocks. Like, there's lots of games we still have played and want to talk about and recommend. So,
tell you what, you will be hearing.
What's that?
Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. It's like
if that comes out. Yeah. You'll be hearing about it.
Okay, well, Adkins has committed us to that then. So there probably will be no break over Christmas, potentially.
Every week for the next 4 months.
There'll be a game to be spoken about. But those 3 are locked in before the end of the year, and then we'll try and either squeeze in our impressions of some of the PS5 games and Xbox Series X games. And then we've got big ones like Cyberpunk coming as well. So it looks like there may be no rest for the wicked, but that's just a little update on what to kind of expect in the next till the end of the year. It's all as you can imagine, getting stuff done is important to us, but sometimes you've got to put feet up. But industry not allowing it at the moment. We'll see. Right, that's it. Gaming God satisfied. Don't strike us down anymore. We've been good to you today. As usual, if you've just stumbled across us on whatever medium, you can subscribe to the podcast. Every Monday you'll get a new episode, and it could be all manner of things, games, industry news, mainly games, but as we mentioned, we do a spot of everything. Hit the subscribe button and it will just immediately go into your feed. If you prefer YouTube, the audio version of it is on there as well. But that is it. Nothing more for us to say apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.